Welcome to Long Story Long. I'm your host, Lisa Curry. Today's guest is the incredibly talented and hilarious Amy Phillips. Amy is the host of Reality Checked on Radio Andy, which you can hear on SiriusXM Monday through Friday. She also has a cookbook called Cook It, Spill It, Throw It coming out this fall, and it's available for pre-order now, so check that out. I think you're really going to like this. Hey, Amy, how are you?
I'm great. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in 2 years or something, it feels like.
I know. It's been a really long time. You're a mom now.
I'm a mom.
Yep.
It's mom life, you know.
With that and the new cat.
Yeah.
It sounds like things are really exciting.
A very new mom with this cat. I mean, a cat. Yeah. I'm a mom and then I'm a cat mom. And then I'm everything else, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what you've been able to work a lot in quarantine then, yes? I mean, I assume because you're all the voiceover stuff.
Well, I have a show on SiriusXM, which is, I think maybe the last time we talked, I mean, it's over the last few years it's grown, but it's now not every day. It's not Saturday and Sunday, but it's Monday through Friday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so thank God, fortunately, knock on wood, I have been able to continue doing that show from home this entire pandemic, which is crazy. Like they just
that's awesome.
Gave me this system, this whole box, this special box with headphones and microphone that connect somehow to the world of SiriusXM, and I'm able to literally broadcast from my house. So and for a while we were just pre-recording like a podcast because we're always live, but we were pre-recording because of technical stuff when we first started. But now, I mean, I'm completely live and I take calls from people. I can have guests now, which is really nice. And I
love that.
It's been really great.
Do you think you'll be going back into the studio when things start to open up?
Yeah, I mean, which won't be until September. It'll be a long time. Yeah. I think they're going to be very conservative about bringing people in the studio. They'll probably have the producers there first, and the host will still stay at home. So it'll be a whole process, so it's fine. Yeah. I love the commute.
That's cool that you've been able to keep it up.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the commute. Yeah. It's just here I go with my coffee upstairs. Oh, I'm at work. Oh my God, there was so much traffic. The cat was on the stairs. It's so great.
Yeah.
That
is nice, especially with everything going on. You're, for me, I'm just I would just pick up and go somewhere. I have no responsibilities,
sure.
But when you have a whole family,
it changes.
It's nice to have commute. Yeah.
I know. I if we had known, obviously, I'm sure everyone thinks about what would you have done differently if you knew this was going to last an entire year. I probably would have just if I knew I was going to be able to broadcast from wherever, I probably would have left and bought a house in the middle of nowhere, but I didn't know. Who knew?
Yeah. Who could have known? Wait, where did you grow up, Amy?
Michigan. Michigan, right outside of Detroit, suburbs of Detroit. And I did go to Wayne State College, which is the city college of Detroit. I went to acting school too, but I mean, my heart is really in Detroit. I mean, truly. Worked a lot there.
You and a whole crew. Yeah, Detroiters really stick together.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, all of our friends, your friends, my friends, a lot of them, a good chunk of them are all from Detroit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you know when you were a kid that you wanted to go into acting?
I could not pinpoint that. I was always really I loved television, but I was not a theater kid early on. I didn't get into it until late. I mean, I did get into theater in high school, and I was always doing impressions and things like that, doing comedy stuff. I always loved Saturday Night Live. I always, so I was always gravitating to that. But it wasn't until after high school I was oh, maybe I should go to acting school, and that's when I started to really get into it. So it was
at Wayne College.
I actually went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City for a while. And then after I finished studying there, the classical techniques, all the acting techniques, I decided to get my degree. So that's when I came back to Detroit and I got a degree in broadcast, communications and things like that.
Yeah.
And I just Your podcast. I mean, should I just keep talking? I mean,
tell me your story. I want to hear your story. I'm so fascinated with this because I feel like there's some people that are like, yeah, I always wanted to do this, and my parents put me in acting when I was a child, and I'm like, what? I'm so jealous of that.
Me too.
I was very late to the game.
I feel like I'm late to everything. Like I just bought Bitcoin. No, I did not buy Bitcoin. But I do feel like I am late to the game on a lot of things because, and I'm like, but how do these I'm always so jealous of people who do have an edge in, and now with like, I don't even know if I would ever want to grow up now because everything is so overexposed and you've got like TikTok and the whole social media of it all. It's terrifying. It's horrifying. So I don't know if I would really want to compete with that, but in the glory days, like, back in the day, it would have been nice to have a little leg up on knowing, oh, so you're kind of like a creative kid who likes to do weird voices. I think I can point you in the right direction so that you're earlier, so then you're in on the ground floor. Whereas, you just kind of have to discover it for yourself when you're in that, and you don't have, parents who would ever think outside of the box like that. They're just like, you need to get a job and you need to go get a job somewhere where, you have insurance and you got longevity in that job. Because now it's like so different. People change jobs, every couple years. People can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It's just like
our parents' generation is definitely people that are like, we have this job for 60 years and then you retire from that one company and that's it.
100%.
And that's what safety looks like.
That is what safety and stability looks like. And in the back of your head, it goes against you because when you're pursuing what we're pursuing, which is insanity, you always have that built in, like, oh, I should have taken I should have taken the other route. I should have taken that stability route. But then you have to reconcile that with yourself. Like, I would never be happy. So I'll endure this torture for 10 more years.
Yeah, totally. When you were studying in New York, what made you go back to school for broadcasting? Were you still like not fully? Did you not realize like you could make a living from it?
I think I wasn't fully emotionally developed yet. I made some decisions based on a relationship, which for the first time, I'm just telling your listeners, don't do. Stay true to yourself. Because I think when I was in New York and I was pursuing that, I really think I was on the right path. I don't know if it was a mistake to leave and get a degree because I ended up where I feel like I probably should have ended up. However, I do often wonder if I should have just stayed in New York and seen what would have come from that. But I was there. I finished American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and the relationship that I was in was very toxic, if you will. And I felt like I needed to leave New York and cater to that toxicity. And that was just a bad choice. So
it's a very early 20s thing that I think a lot of people do.
It's a very early 20s. You are so right. And I'm glad I got it out of my system then, because it would have hit at some point. It would have hit at some point. Yes. I think everyone is due their toxic relationship at some point. And that was, absolutely living through mine. And so I obviously clearly got out of that eventually. But when I came back to Detroit and got my degree, and it was in broadcast communications, it did set me on the path of, I ended up working like for public radio and doing like a bunch of different internships and working at production companies and things like that in Detroit, which was really cool. And then I ended up in advertising, which was wild because when I was there, I was sort of beginning to explore the world of like improv comedy. So I started taking classes at Second City in Detroit while I was doing my day job, while I was at my...
With the advertising? Just like, is this some kind of a supplement?
Yeah. It was my like 9 to 5. It was such a great job. The people there were amazing. J. Walter Thompson is the name of the advertising agency. And I just like, I really thrived there because it was a perfect mix of like creativity, working in advertising, and then it just completely exposed me of things that I never knew existed. Like I found out what commercial voiceover was and how that worked, and I was like, wait, you can do this is a job, there's a union.
You're just talking to a microphone. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And then I was like processing how much these people were getting paid to do, Ford commercials. I was like, where do I sign up? So while I was there, it was so cool. I started to take voiceover workshops while I was doing like Second City stuff. And I was really just taking my time honing this other side of like acting that I had never experienced. Because I was trained for acting, you know, like as I mentioned earlier about, you know, the classical techniques and things like that. And but I'd never done improv. And I didn't know about voiceover work, but it was great because by the time I was getting into voiceover, I had already trained in New York to like get rid of a big chunk of my Midwest accent, which was very helpful. Sure. It's not all gone, trust me, and I know you hear it, and I'm okay with it.
It's hard, and is it when you go back home? Do you feel like it? It like reignites it? Because when I'm in Indiana, I sound ridiculous.
Oh, that's right. You're
like,
from the Midwest too.
Can't be around these
yeah,
people.
Of course. You can't be around these people. Yeah, I think that it's a blessing and it's a curse. I think that it gives, you know, when I went to acting school, it was kind of like for speech, they teach you the standard American English. So it's like you go in the first day, you record yourself, and the first day I was like, "Hi, my name is Amy. I'm from Michigan. I love backpacks." And then the last day they record you again, and it was like, "Hello, my name is Grace Kelly." It was just like a completely different, you know, it's put on. It's very put on, but it got in there. And so now it's like when I do voiceovers, it's great because I think my voice appeals to like, I sell groceries and cars and like, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it's a familiar, it's enough of a Midwest.
People want to hear someone that sounds like themselves or their mom or whatever, you know?
So, but anyway, I loved working in advertising because it exposed me like, oh, voiceover work, this is amazing. So I really worked on like getting my demo together and then doing improv. And then as it turned out, I worked on this radio show in Detroit where I was doing impressions and like, you know, I was doing like Ellen, Martha Stewart was like in jail.
Was it part of the show or were you just like, I can do this, let me do this, let me fucking run free?
It was weird. I remember I used to I called into this morning show a couple times pretending to be like Fran Drescher, and they thought it was Fran Drescher, and I was like kind of messing with them, you know. And then I remember a friend of mine who worked in voiceover told me about they were having this competition. It was like a radio competition about like it was Dick Purton's show. And it was like, who can be Dick Purton's protege? Like, send in your tapes. Can you do voices? So I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I sent in my tape, and then they narrowed it down to like 5 contestants. And it was this whole week-long thing of like us competing with each other. It was like The Voice, but for radio voices.
but the voice, yeah.
The voice, the radio voice, yeah. And so it was really fun, and I won the competition, and it was like during the time, it was perfect for me because at that time I was like doing a Hillary Clinton and like Bill Clinton was president. Martha Stewart was in jail. Like it was all the things that I could do. I could really hone in on some good female impressions. And so I ended up kind of moonlighting with them in terms of doing voices on their show. I would come in the morning every once in a while and they'd pay me to do gigs. So I would go and do that show. Then I'd go do my advertising job and then do improv classes at night and just kind of dabble in working on my voiceover stuff. So this all kind of came bubbling to a head where I was like, I'm going to make the break because I finally had representation for voiceover and commercial work and stuff like that in Detroit. So I just basically ended up quitting my day job and doing voiceover work full-time, acting full-time, continued with the improv. And then I moved to Chicago and I continued to do more and then eventually moved here to LA. So
that's so cool that it sounds like you were able to really ease your way into voiceover work. Like it wasn't this giant scary thing where it's like, you know, so many people are like, I quit my day job and I have $4, so I better book something. And it's like, what?
No, it was,
that's terrifying.
It was definitely a huge risk. And it's not like anyone else was paying my bills. It was scary, but at the same time, I had a connection and a leg in with this agency who then after I left hired me to do voiceover work for them. So I was doing Ford commercials pretty quickly out of the gates. And I was able to join the union, SAG-AFTRA, after a year of leaving my day job, I was able to join SAG-AFTRA. And then I just kept freaking trying to hustle and get jobs. And then that's when I I had a couple campaigns, which was great. And then I was able to move to Chicago and keep doing that, which was amazing. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What made you go to Chicago instead of back to New York? I mean, since you were already familiar with New York, obviously.
Because I fell in love with improv. And the community that it is. And I knew that Chicago was the hub and like the motherland of improv. Yeah. And I wanted to learn from the best. I wanted to. And I always like, there's a comfort in Chicago knowing it's close to home and certainly not as expensive. I had been to New York and I wasn't ready to like take a big leap back that direction. Like you said, I thought, well, I've already done New York. So, and I really wanted to hone in on like the commercial world. I really wanted to hone in on improv and learn. And it was just like some of the best times of my life. I mean, I know that you and I have that same experience with like improv and just the community that it is. And it really is something so special. Fun. Yeah.
It's the most fun. That's so cool that you were already making a living from voiceover by the time you got to Chicago, which is like, I imagine gives you a huge leg up just in that scene to come in with that already, because that is like it's kind of a starter city for a lot of people where that's their first place they go. So if you're going there having already established something, I imagine that would be an easier path.
It was helpful. It was like, I felt very grateful to have representation. Because I had it was great. I had, I liked reaping the rewards from what I had, all the seeds I had planted in Detroit seemed to really catapult me into an amazing position in Chicago and to be able to really enjoy it and not have to worry. I mean, I worried every day like everybody does as a working actor. It's like terrifying. It's terrifying. You're like, I'm going to just eat eggs today. So that's fine. And then I'll just drink beer all night, at Improv Olympic. So that's just like what
Beer's
you do.
Because it's filling. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's good when you're poor and it's like $2 or whatever in Chicago.
Yes.
And then how long did you spend in Chicago before you went out to LA?
Oh, God, I was there for like maybe 3 years, not long. 2.5 years.
That's a nice amount of time.
It was a great amount of time, but I also was I felt like I was older than all of my peers when I was in Chicago. For example, the people that I was in classes with were probably like maybe anywhere between 5 to potentially 10 years younger than I was.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Circling back as in a herald, to where like I felt like I was getting a late start. I did feel like I was getting a late start on so many levels in terms of like, jumping into entertainment and full on because I was older. I had I completely left this out and I apologize, but that toxic relationship was actually a marriage. So I was married and then I ended up. Okay. I'm sorry, I skipped over that probably on purpose, but. I feel like I got a little bit of a late start because I was in this relationship for a very long chunk of time in which I couldn't pursue any of this. So then when I got out, I was like, I am exploding with everything that I left behind that I did not pursue and I was not true to myself. So it was like a second chance on life, or at least a second chance at my dreams or my passion and what I felt like I wanted to do in my life, if that makes sense. So
that's so incredible because I feel like that's such also a Midwestern thing to get married young, and but most people. I mean, I can think of so many friends of mine that just like hang on to it for dear life. Yeah. And they're like, well, I would like to have done such and such thing, but then they don't. And it's like, what are you doing?
I know.
Get out of this. Run. But you can't tell people that.
You can't because they have to experience it for themselves. And, it's not that I don't know. I don't know how you feel about regrets. Do you believe in regrets? Or are you like a hashtag no regrets? Yeah. Like, what do you?
Yeah, no, I'm not one of those people.
I'm not
like,
either.
I would change so many things.
Okay, me too. Thank God. I feel the same way. Whenever someone's like, no regrets, I am where I'm at. I'm like, I think it could have maybe gotten from A to Z faster and better. And I have a lot of regrets.
I think it makes me crazy when people say stuff like that, or when they're like, when I was still waiting tables, I would hear a lot of people say, you're really going to miss this time. And I'm like, the fuck I will. Are you kidding me? This is horrible. I am making no money. I don't have health insurance. This is not right. I'm not going to. And I'm like, now I'm out of it. And I'm like, I don't.
You're like,
I'm not like reminiscing.
Where's your point?
Wish I was waiting tables. Everything was so simple. It's like, I don't know.
No, it's
like,
complicated.
How badly do you have to how badly is your have you fucked up your current life that you're like reflecting on a really hard time,
right?
And you're like,
how miserable are you now that you're like, those were the days.
Yeah, that's so funny. I mean, like, but you've been able to, like, how cool that you followed that. You followed your instincts. I'm assuming got divorced. I'm assuming you're not in a double marriage.
I am still married. I'm married to 2 people. I'm in a doubled up.
You're like, I fled the state.
I just like don't like legal stuff, so like I just let it go under the radar.
Yeah. Again, no regrets. So what made you? So you made the move then to LA because you were like.
But yeah, my point being, like, I felt like I needed
Mm-hmm.
to expedite my process faster than most people that I was in classes with and that I was surrounded by because I was older. I was like 35 when I moved to LA, I think. And so when I was in classes in Chicago, I was like, you know, I was in like my early 30s. So it's kind of like one of those things where I was going, everyone in these classes is like 24. Like there was a girl in my class who was in a class and she was like,
I'm not even supposed to be here because I'm not even old enough. Don't tell.
like, I was like, fuck you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
she's like, I just got my first period. And you're like, what?
I'm like, great. Yeah. Like realistic scenes. Like, can I get a suggestion from the audience? My first period. Yeah. That I'm really relating. I'm like inching up on premenopause. I'm like, okay. So, and there's like nothing wrong with that in terms of, I think that improv is so great for people who ever want to get started at any age. But when you're in Chicago and you got like, it is the breeding ground for people who really, they know now, like if you want to be in the comedy sphere in any way, whether it's stand up or improv, you have to like double down on one of those and get started. So
yes,
and so,
absolutely.
Right. So I was like surrounded by a lot of young people. And so I'm like, you could be my child. So like, I need to hurry up and get their shit moving.
It's so funny, especially like, I don't like, SNL was never something on my radar because I'm just like, I don't do characters. I don't do impressions. It's not my whatever. But I remember when I started Second City, everyone was like, well, you gotta, you know, SNL won't take anyone older than 27 or something like that, where I was like,
oh, wow.
what? I'm 27 now. Like I can't imagine if that, I'm not 27 now, I'm saying then, but I'm just
the pressure
saying,
of
like,
that
if you were in Chicago,
absolutely.
and they're like, you know, Lauren's not taking you past 27.
Right.
And you're like,
well,
I'm already
I better cash in that
gone.
Liza Minnelli impression fast.
Yeah.
I'm giving up, mother. Just
You're
forget about it. I'm gonna pack my bags and go back to Michigan. Oh, God damn it. Where are my pills?
Yeah,
you're just like pulling out everything from the 90s, and they're like, what?
I do feel like and this is again, hashtag tons of regrets, but like, I really do think that I was meant to survive in the world of entertainment. Like I'm past my prime. Like I should have been then, because I feel like I have all these like impressions from back in the day that like really would have hit in the early 90s. Like fucking you know, I mean, so, but that's
but I think like, I mean, there's such fun characters. I don't know. I love like 90s pop culture.
I'm kind of like from a bygone era. Like I am doing radio. Like you know, when I was doing that radio show, I was like doing so many impressions that I felt like really catered to that time. So I really had to, like, when I came to LA, push myself into like, okay, who's current? You know, like I gotta like up the repertoire. I gotta like, okay, I'll do Jennifer Lawrence. Like what's up, Amy Adams? You know, I like really had to figure out and try and find the next, you know, character that's happening and try to like hone those impressions. So that was always, it was fun when I moved to LA, putting together reels and like experimenting with new impressions. And I really loved doing that. That was a really fun creative process for me, is that I really started to embrace experimenting and challenging myself with like what I could do impressions wise when I moved to LA, because I didn't really know anyone. I was the first of my whole generation from Detroit to move here that I knew. So I was by myself. I knew some people from Chicago, but again, they weren't my peers. They were like everyone from Chicago that I knew that moved out here were the people that I was watching on stage, that I was like loving their work that they do, but I didn't know them personally. So it was like, I was living in a vacuum, but when I came out, I did have voiceover representation. So that was like what I did every day. And then other than that, I just kept working on doing videos and like stuff for YouTube and all that bullshit back in the day.
Did you move out with anyone, or were you just like...
No, I came out here by myself. I came out here by myself, and at the time, the only person I really knew was Megan Grano. You know Megan?
Yeah, I love Megan. She's great.
And so we actually, we went to the same high school in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, by the way. But we were like a few years apart. I'm 3 years older than she is. So we were in Chicago at the same time and got reconnected there, but didn't ever really hang out because she was doing ETC. So we just never, she was not like one of those late night drinkers like I was, out at the bars. So I never saw her. She was like, I'm doing my show and going to bed. So she was way more responsible than me. And
just like the antithesis of Chicago living.
Oh my God. I don't know how she did
just hammered all day.
I don't know how she did it. I was like, I don't even know how I did it, because I would be up until 2 a.m, 3 a.m, drinking and laughing, and then up super early trying to get to voiceover auditions. It was no wonder I didn't book that much, because my voice sounded like shit.
And this is also the height of people smoking indoors.
Oh,
I don't know how you survived that.
You're right. Well, actually, I think, and talk about that, but Detroit was even worse. Even worse. Just the drinking and the smoking. Anyway, but Megan came out to LA about 4 months before I did. So we kind of connected on that level. So we actually got really close when we moved out here together. We didn't really, spend much time in Chicago together, but the familiarity of knowing each other from Michigan and then for a second in Chicago. So she was really one of the only people I knew truly when I moved out here. And then I just, immersed myself in voiceover stuff, and that's a whole other world. And then also with improv and stuff. And then slowly but surely, Jaime came out here, who is one of my best friends, Jaime Moyer.
I love Jaime. She's the funniest person
in the world. It is criminal, and she is the epitome of hilarity and genius encompassed in one amazing friend. And so she came out here a year later. My now husband, Brett Gunnell, he was not out here, but he was doing one of the cruise ships for Second City at the time when I moved out here.
Nice. So
6 months later, he came and stayed with me for a little while. Then he went back on a ship, and then he came back. So there was that whole thing happening. So I wasn't completely alone. And then he ended up staying, and then we eventually got married and had a child. So that worked out.
I love it. It's also so much easier to be with somebody that's in entertainment than out of it, because it is such a ridiculous world, and he gets it.
Yes, completely. It is really nice. It is really nice. And it's nice to be married to a genuinely funny person.
For sure.
Who always makes me laugh no matter what. So it's nice. That's definitely not a toxic relationship. I can tell you that right now.
Well,
talk about night and day. Yowzers.
That's awesome. How did you get into the world of the Housewives?
Oh my gosh.
The world of the Housewives?
The world of the Housewives. Yes, it is.
I made it sound like a theme park.
It's actually a genius idea. They're pretty close to that, because they've been doing BravoCon. They had their first BravoCon last year. But how did I get in the world of Housewives? When I moved out to LA and I was working on doing all my different character reels and stuff like that, I came across Bravo TV that had changed from doing Actors Studio, very serious artistic, I think, television, into I'm like, what is this shit? Just reality stuff. And I was like, wait. Oh, and then I saw the Rachel Zoe project on that one day, and I was like, oh my God, the Rachel. Do you know who she is? She's a celebrity stylist. Okay, I know, I do too. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing, because the way she talked, she was like, wait,
what was that? I remember that you did an impression of her, and you were in a shopping cart, and I remember remembering this correctly, and it absolutely killed me. It was so funny.
She's such a character. Like, I basically was like Rachel Zoe going grocery shopping. I was like, these bananas are bananas. Like, I die. And I was just like, I was like, oh my God, this cart has a cup holder. Like, and so I just thought she was such an amazing character that I just wanted to do an impression of her. So I put that out there, and it got a lot of viral attraction. I hate saying that word. It just makes me puke in my mouth. I just want to throw up on my own self. But there is a late show on Bravo. It's called Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. And that show had just begun, and they saw that video and they reached out and they're like, hey, can we show this on our show? And I was like, oh my God, yes. So I got some attention from like Andy Cohen and Watch What Happens Live. And then I eventually did another, I kind of like, Rachel Zoe was my gateway show into the Housewives. Because
That's a great way to put it.
Because I quickly found the Real Housewives of New York, and that I was like, what? Who are these crazy ladies that like, you can't write these characters? Like, this is the ultimate in character study, in just charismatic female empowerment and bonkersville, like everything. And I was like, I can't get enough of this. So there was one woman on the show named Ramona Singer, who I had a great affinity towards, because she would just be like, talking about Pinot Grigio all day. She'd be like, oh my God, Pinot Grigio, I'm really sorry. She would say like horrendous things, and she'd be like, you know what? I'm really sorry. So I just decided to do a video of her. And then Watch What Happens Live was like, oh, can we show this on our show? And I was like, yes. So then it sort of catapulted into this whole thing where I was like, okay, I can't deny that there's something with these characters on Bravo. I'm going to start leaning into this, because Ramona herself reached out, and she was like, we should go on Watch What Happens Live together. You should be Ramona, I'll be Ramona, and we'll be Ramonas together. And so
You're like, okay.
And I was like, sign me up. So I ended up being on the show, and I got to meet Andy Cohen, and I struck up this whole relationship with, the producers at Watch What Happens Live, and they're like, we want you to keep doing these videos. So I was like,
and
yes.
You're like, if you keep putting me on, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, well, I'm going to dig into my bag of tricks. Let's see and so I just kept watching the shows, and I really fell in love with these shows because it's reality television, and especially back in the day, when it was very, 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 way more real. And so I just kept in from there. I did like this whole video. I did like Bethany Frankel, and I did Tabitha I just did a slew of Bravo celebrities, as they call it. I don't know if this is your world, so I'm trying to, bridge the gap so you know what we call it. It's like our whole little language. So I just kept doing it. I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And I was like, can't stop, won't stop. And then it led me into, which is so bizarre, I was going to do like a podcast on the Real Housewives. This is like 5 or 6 years ago. I was going to start a Real Housewives podcast. And I reached out to Andy Cohen, and I was like, I just want to know if can I have your blessing, because he basically is the one who gave me the opportunity to build what I've built in terms of my Housewives impressions. And he was like, yeah, but don't you want to do it on Radio Andy? And I was like, what is Radio Andy? And at that time, I had no clue that he was actually going to have his own channel on SiriusXM, in which he was just working on programming. And he was like, it's really serendipitous, because I don't have any shows on my channel right now that will be speaking to Housewives.
Perfect.
I know. Is that not the weirdest thing? So
I tell people all the time, I'm like, tell people what you want to do or what you're going after, because you never know. Like, you just happened to say this to him. You're like, oh, I'm going to not like happen to, like, it was, in a park or something.
No, right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a deliberate, like, let's see what I can get out of this.
100%. And your advice is actually right. It's resonating with me now. I should tell people more what I want to do, because that is exactly what led me to my literal day job. That's what I do. I get paid to have a show where I watch the shows that I would already be watching, and then I take notes, and then I talk about it on my show. Like, it is weird how it worked out. And it was only like, it started off with being 1 day a week, and then it was 2 days a week, and then 2 years ago it got bumped to 5 days a week. So it has really grown.
Oh, I love that.
And it is an endless, it's a bottomless pit of material, because the shows on Bravo, they're only churning them out more and more. And we do, like, I do cover, like I did 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After. I will go, like I talked about The Vow. I will branch out and do things that I am passionate about that are outside of the Bravo sphere, which is great.
Yeah.
So it's like reality TV. It's Bravo centric, but it's beyond that as well. And I get to do my impressions, and I do like radio sketches. I interview the Housewives. I have funny guests on that are Housewives fans, so we can recap together what we just saw and like try to make heads or tails of it. And I have an amazing producer, Alyssa, who now, ever since this pandemic started, like it's just basically been us two, because we couldn't have guests for the longest time.
Yeah.
But it's been a wild journey. Again, hearkening back to what you're saying about tell people what you want to do. I never would have thought that it would have turned into this. I just thought, let's do a fun podcast. But yeah, he was just very supportive. He's Andy is very loyal. I was surprised he gave me the opportunity, and still continues to, because I'm like, wake up in the morning, I'm like, am I canceled yet from his show, his channel? I hope I'm not.
I love it because you're incredible, and he just seems like such a warm, nice person. I'm like, what a fun pairing.
Yeah,
to be able to work with him on his station.
Yes.
When you look back at things like your journey through, like, from Detroit to New York, back to Detroit, and then Chicago and LA, is there something that at the time felt bad or insignificant that ended up like changing the trajectory of things for the better?
Well, probably I auditioned for SNL twice, and that felt horrible when I didn't get it twice. There's nothing worse than an impressionist who has nowhere to put their impressions. You know what I mean? Like there are, and then to get the opportunity for a platform where they literally can use impressions and then not get that opportunity.
Like, that's our whole thing.
Yeah, that sucks so hard. And I don't know how to say it sucks more than just saying like that's horrible. It's a horrible feeling, and not knowing you didn't get that opportunity. And then I don't know. I don't know if I would have thrived on that show. When I think about it now, like I do feel like I'm doing what is best for me. And the fact that I have this amazing platform where I have complete creative control of what I can do every day. I can utilize my impressions, but I can also go beyond that in writing and in content and things like that. And I don't have to wait for anything. I can just do it every single day, I think is an amazing gift that I never would have seen coming.
Yeah.
And such an incredible outlet that I never thought that I would have. So if you look at it like that, it is kind of incredible that I do feel like, wow, if I would have done Saturday Night Live, and then you think about the trajectory after, when you watch the people on the show and you think, oh, where do they go after? Because that's like really where the rubber meets the road. Because you see a lot of incredibly talented people who get that job or who don't get that job, but then they're on the show and then they leave. And like back in the day, you feel like, gosh, back in the day, they didn't have as many opportunities as people who go do the show now. It feels like they're set up for success the second they leave the show, whether it's after one season or two seasons, like they already have a built-in, like you're on SNL. Now we can put you on any show. We can put you in any writer's room. We can, and so you kind of feel like, well, what is their trajectory after the show? And I think if I were to have been on that show, what would my trajectory be after? I don't know if it would even be as good as what I'm doing now. I'm not sure, because this is such a stable opportunity, a stable job, and that's what you want, right? Obviously, as an entertainer, and you want to reap what you sow. You want to get the coins for what you do, and so if you're not getting that, you're like, oh my God, do I need to split? So it is kind of nice to have that reassurance that I'm doing something with with the skills that I have, and I'm getting paid to do it. But don't get me wrong, it really hurt. It really hurt when I didn't get that job. And I feel sad when I think about the moments when it happened that I didn't get it. It's sad, like, but I feel like I have moved past it because of where I am and how I can use the things that I do. And I love doing what I do. So that kind of, I don't want to say it erases it, and it doesn't erase the memory, but it certainly helps me feel really good about what it is that I'm doing, and that not hashtag no regrets, because I can't say I don't have regrets about not getting that job because it wasn't up to me. But I wonder, sometimes I wonder, like, I'm like, oh, I think maybe that wouldn't have been good for me. I'm a really sensitive person. Maybe that environment wouldn't have been good for me. Maybe I would have felt like lost, or maybe I wouldn't have been able to keep up. Maybe it would have been really emotionally tough for me, and maybe I wouldn't have liked it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's hard. I mean, I'm sure we both know people that have been on the show, and it's like, it seems really tough.
And
also the
so
older
hard.
I get, the more I'm like, I don't know if I'm looking to be challenged in that way. And if you can create your own thing where you have your own show and you're able to have a peaceful day.
Right.
Like, that's so valuable, because there's like 3 jobs in entertainment where you can have stability and peace.
Right. I don't even know if they exist, but I think you're right. I think it can exist for sure, and I think it should exist more. I wish that it did exist more. Because I don't think as entertainers we deserve that kind of torture. It's not fair. Like, we didn't ask to wake up, like, be born and be able to, our skill set to do fucking ridiculous voices. Like, I didn't ask for that. But I can't not do it, because what else can I do? So it can be torturous. So I feel like there should be a healthier environment for entertainers to have a more, stable job and do what they do and feel at peace while doing it. And maybe SNL, I think it's great when you're young. I think, like, if you're younger on that job, as far as being like a cast member, I'm not talking about like the writer's room, because clearly, like, they're obviously, people who've people are there for a really long time. But I think, like, it's probably easier when you're younger. As you get older, it's probably harder, because, like, you're wiser, and you kind of realize that I don't have to put up with this shit. I don't have the energy for this. Like, what am I doing?
Well, there's that, and it's just like the hours. It's just like so much. It's a lot on your body. Like, it's like living in Chicago, where you're like, oh, I guess we're drinking till 4 a.m. and then I just have to be up at 8. Okay.
Right.
Where if somebody proposed that to me now, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my house.
Oh, never. I
couldn't
do it anymore. But we've done it, and we survived. We survived for the better.
Yeah, I love it. If I have one other question for you, if like your childhood self, like 11-year-old Amy, could see you now, if she could meet you, what do you think she would think?
Oh my God, I think that she would be like, oh yeah, that seems exactly right. I used to like make tape recordings into a freaking cassette player of different voices, and I'm just doing the same thing now. Like, it's weird. Yeah, I think that I would probably appreciate that. And that is, thank you for asking me that question, because it's like, it makes me feel validated. It makes me validate my own self for what I'm doing, because I think that I would be proud. I think I'd be proud. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so funny also how it seems like, you're on this path and you're doing all these different things, but the voiceover was always something that you were doing even when you were a kid. And it seems like you didn't realize this is, I mean, I don't know. I'm putting words into your mouth, but
please do.
It seems like you didn't realize this is for sure a career path and something I can do. Yes.
Yes. I think, and it's a perfect balance for my personality, I think, yeah. Do you feel that way about your life? Can I interview you now? Do you feel that way about your life?
Sometimes sometimes, because I'm like, I don't know. I always was like trying to do funny things or be funny, or I put on little recitals in my house, but it doesn't, I grew up in such a blue collar area that it was like, well, that's not a job.
Yeah.
Those are people being silly. Like, it didn't,
yes.
I think the, like, realizing you can get paid for it takes a really long time, even when you're in it, because when you're first in it, you're certainly not getting paid for it. Right. People are like, yeah, right, you got to pay to do this, or whatever. And then when you start making money, it's like, wait, that's part of this exchange? That's an option? I didn't know. I don't know.
When did that, when did you come to that realization? Like, I'm curious.
I think once I started making some money from stand-up, I was like, oh, like not any money, really. Not enough money to talk about, but like, like when I was making some money, I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to be broke forever. And then I started talking to friends about money and like finding out what people would be like, yeah, I got 10 grand for this corporate. And I'm like, how much for what? You know, and you just like, like you said with the Ford commercials, it's like when you realize the amounts of money
I see what you mean.
that people make, it's like
you put 2 and 2 together.
You could buy a house, not with 10 grand, but like eventually, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think once you realize it's more than just like $100 here and there, when you're talking about like enough money to put together a salary from a few jobs. When
you realize you can monetize your craft. When it hasn't ever been laid out for you. There's no class on it. There's no class in Indiana, in Michigan at that point.
No.
So were you like picking up the fake mic or like the hairbrush and doing like bits in your basement and stuff like that?
It was a lot of dance and like goofing off, but I didn't realize that stand-up comedy was a job. I thought it was like something you were anointed to, like the Pope, you know? I was like, well, you just, I mean, that doesn't even, I'm sure there's probably Catholics out there that are like, it's a job and it's on my vision board or whatever. I don't know if that's a thing.
Do you have a vision board?
But I think it is hard. I don't right now. I should.
I did one this year. I really did.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What's on it? Can you share? Is that a private thing? Okay.
No. Oh, I don't care. I talk about my shit every day. I've done a vision board before. It had been about 3 or 4 years since I did it. So I felt like inspired to do it again. And I looked at my old vision board, and I'm talking about like, old school vision board. Like I'm cutting out of a magazine, like I'm pasting on it, you know, I'm not like doing a digital bullshit, like fucking digital, you know, vision board. Like my old vision board had things that were on there that I felt like came true, which was weird.
God, I love that.
Oh, I can't believe this. I just remembered. My own show was on my vision board, my first vision board. My own show. This is before I even considered like a podcast. And I know, and maybe that sounds stupid as a like, because everyone's like, yeah, that's on my vision board every day. Like every entertainer wants their own show. So I know that's really like on the nose.
Not necessarily.
I know it's on the nose, but it was pretty specific. It was like creative control, like my own show. Andy Cohen's picture was very close to that. And like I had something about like
Amy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I had some Housewives headline on there. And then I also had other things. I had a whole corner on motherhood. I mean, so that's kind of, and then, and
you booked that audition.
I totally booked it.
Which congrats.
There were some other things that like came to fruition that were really specific. And then on this new vision board, I have things like, I would love to be able to buy a house at some point. I mean, we live in LA. It's insanity. Especially now with the housing market is like terrible. So I have a house on there. Like I really want to have a home. I have something that is like take the stage, because my whole thing is I want to, I've been wanting to do a Real Housewives, like a live, you know, show, like a stage show where I for this show. And I started writing it before the pandemic. So I'd like to start getting that going again and writing and working on that stage show. I also have, this came out of nowhere, but I co-authored a Housewives parody cookbook.
That's amazing.
I know, it's the craziest thing. So
what?
I know. This really took a turn. So on my vision board, like I have a lot of like things to set up this book for success, to that it's like, you know, New York Times bestseller, like all that stuff that, you know, you would hope. And so, this chef Stuart O'Keefe, came to me and was like, I'm a chef. Like him and his literary agent, they were like, he's like, I've written a cookbook. I'm like a celebrity chef. Have they ever done like a Housewives cookbook before? Like we should do this. I need a comedic voice. I need like someone to write the funny titles and like write the blurbs and help me come up with this. And I was like, this is makes no sense, and yet it totally makes sense. So the whole time, so we've been working on it for like a year and a half, and we just announced it. It's pre-sale right now. It's comes out in November. But we wrote a book, like it's a cookbook. It's a parody
What's
cookbook.
the name of
It's
it?
called Cook It, Spill It, Throw It, the Not So Real Housewives Parody Cookbook. And it's all based on like these moments. We basically turned Housewives and Housewives moments into food that's inspired, in drinks and stuff like that. Like I was talking about Ramona Singer. She's nicknamed the Singer Stinger. So we've got like the Singer Stinger sipper. We've got like your husband's in the polenta because Margaret Joseph pushed her husband in the pool. Like so. Or someone else's husband, actually. But we've got all these moments that turned into food. And I never would have thought, like, it's published by HarperCollins, Day Street Books. And
I love that.
It was like this whole process. So, but anyway, that's on my vision board for that to do very well. And I believe in that. Like, I believe in, like, putting stuff out there and positive energy and all that bullshit,
I believe in all of it. It obviously works. You have your own show.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. I love it so much. Well, I'm really excited for your cookbook. I'm definitely going to get... Did you try any of the recipes on your own?
Yes,
yet?
I've tried a bunch. And the thing is, it's like a parody cookbook, but it's real. A parody cookbook, but it's really real food because he's an amazing chef. So there are amazing recipes that are... Yeah, they're incredible. They're delicious. Absolutely incredible.
I love it so much. Well, congrats on the book.
Thanks, Lisa.
And,
congrats on your podcast. And your life.
I'm doing my thing. My life is fun.
When are you going back on the road? Like, when are you getting back into doing stand-up? Have you started again?
Oh, God, I hope soon. I haven't yet just because I'm in Nashville and it's a free-for-all here. And it's...
oh, you're in Nashville?
Making me nervous right now. Just for now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just at a friend's house for a little while.
Okay.
But I'm back in LA next month, so I'm planning to get back into things then. And I'm supposed to be opening for somebody later this year, and I hope that happens. I hope it still happens.
I think it will. I can't wait to come see you again.
I gotta make a vision board. Yeah.
I can't wait to come see you again. I'm gonna be so delighted when I'm sitting in the audience watching you. I'll be like, the world is back to normal. Okay.
I can't wait. I'm so stoked. It was so great to see you and talk to you.
Thank you.
And catch up
I feel like it was so one-sided. I don't like the feeling of like walking away like, great, I just fucking talked about myself for an hour.
I get it. I do that. Like when I'm in therapy, I'm like, how's your day? And they're like, can you relax, please?
Therapy. Right. How's your day? You don't want to know. They start telling you and you're like, oh God, don't tell me. You're my therapist.
I did have Amy. I tried a new therapist. I was looking for a new therapist, and I had one session with this guy a couple weeks ago, and 8 minutes in, he's like, well, you should look me up on IMDb Pro. And I was like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work.
I can't. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Anyway.
Jesus. You got to find a therapist outside of LA.
Yeah. I know. Well, I made the mistake of when I called, I was like, I need a therapist that like understands the entertainment industry because the therapist before that, I was like explaining everything I do, and it was taking up my whole session. And then they're like, we got it. We have an actor. And I'm like, nope.
Oh, no.
That's not what I was looking for.
No, anyway. I think you're right on that. But if you find one, let me know.
Yeah. Well, I have one that's looking for some roles. So if you have... If I could get him back into acting, then he doesn't have to give anybody terrible advice anymore. So
that is the greatest. As any mom in the Midwest would respond to this story of yours, I would say, "Are you going to put that in your act, hun? Is that in your act? Are you going to put that in your skits about the therapist, because hun, that's so funny." Okay, good. I'm going to look forward to that, hun. Oh my God.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Amy. It was so good to see you and talk to you.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening. Once again, that was Amy Phillips. You can find her on Twitter at @AmyPhillips_, and you can find her on Instagram at @MeetAmyPhillips. I highly recommend just perusing her Instagram for a little while if you're not that familiar with all of her impressions. She has a bunch up on there, and it's absolutely hysterical. Have a good day with that. And I am Lisa Curry. You can find me on Twitter at Lisa_Curry and on Instagram at olympianlisacurry. Again, if you're enjoying the show, please like, subscribe, leave a little comment, write a letter to your congressperson, awake your grandmother from the dead and tell her about it. Whatever you've got to do to help spread the word, I really appreciate. And thank you so much. We'll catch you next week.